welcome to my show Indus Cuisine, and I'm your chef Basim Akhund. We're back with another new episode and a new recipe from the heart of Pakistan. This recipe comes from the province of Sindh, but not from the coastal area. Even though we're making a recipe which includes fish, we're making dry masala fish, which is coming from the city of Thatta. This city around 350 years ago had a delta in that area, and as everyone knows that whenever time passes by, 50 to 60 years or 100 years pass by, the area where the delta is located changes. That's Mother Nature, we can't fight with it. And back in the day when there was no infrastructure, meaning roads and bridges, the only way of doing work or transporting your material or goods was through the rivers. So wherever the river was, the city was also situated over there. So Karachi back in the day was not the cosmopolitan city, but the main city back then was the city of Thatta. It was so important that if you go to Thatta nowadays even, you will see a very old mosque made by the Mughal emperor of that time, and in Karachi there is no such thing. Why? Because the Mughals never came till this area. So this recipe is a very easy recipe which will be made in two parts. The first part is we will fry the fish on this pan, and now as you can see, this pan has a very different texture to it. Why? There's a reason behind it. When I'm talking about a local recipe, a local dish, I will try sourcing local equipment or local material I can make the fish in. This is a hand tempered tawa, as we say, tawa meaning pan in English, and as you can see these marks on it, this is made by the person who actually welds or makes different kinds of ornaments with the local steel provided in the local areas. First of all, you need a fish. So whenever we're talking about fish and whenever we're talking about Sindh, we talk about this famous fish called palla. Now, what is the history of palla? Palla is a very interesting fish which swims in the sea but comes to the river to lay its eggs. So there's a very famous history behind this, that when the palla fish swims upriver to the city of Thatta, there's a shrine over there, a Sufi saint's shrine over there. When it passes by and comes back to the sea, it changes color to an extent that the palla gets red spots on its head, and the flavor also changes. So as you know, it's a myth, but personally I have experienced it, and everyone in Pakistan has experienced it, that if you take a palla from the sea, it will taste different, and if you take a palla in the river which is actually flowing back to the sea from that Sufi shrine, it changes taste. But the second form of fish that is actually found in our rivers is called dambra. Now there's no proper name for this fish also. Why? Because this fish is a local fish that is available throughout Pakistan, and it's a river fish. This fish never goes into the sea, and this is the fish we'll be using today. But I had to tell you the story about palla. Why? Because previously palla was available, and then as time passed by, you got dambra. Now the funny part is, or the interesting part is, that in Europe a lot of people have salmon. The same thing is with salmon. When salmon is in the sea, the color is different. When salmon flows upstream to lay its eggs, like the palla lays its eggs upstream, it changes color. So these two fish are completely similar, but the texture is completely different. Today's fish is the dambra. I've taken the head out and we will cut it first. So I will cure it in front of you. Why? Because I do not want the fish to have this strong smell. So when I went to the fishmonger, he made these cuts, even though I told him not to, but it's fine, he's done a good job. What we need to do is now we need to make smaller pieces. So you'll take a fish knife. When you say a fish knife, it's actually a flexible knife, as you can see, and make cuts on the fish. Why? Because we do not want really big pieces today. We shall use around a piece that is 1 inch thick only. So this is done. Now when this is done, you need to see, just pull it and the cuts are till the bone. If you see a cut is not till the bone, you will go again with your knife and just push it in between. And whenever you're using fish knife or a filleting fish knife, do not push it. Why? Because it's very delicate. It's just to make cuts. Now what you need is, you need another knife which is like a heavier one, and a piece of cloth. This cloth will be used and then discarded. Why? Because once you use a cloth which is for fish, do not use it again for anything else. Okay, so make a cut, place the thing on top, and then just, and wherever you feel the bone, press it again. So now the first piece is out. I'll keep it over here. Then the second piece, I will cut through all the pieces. Why? Because this is how it's done, and you should know. We're keeping a cloth on top so that you do not hurt your hand. Slowly and gradually. I mean, this is what the fishmonger can do for you, but I prefer doing it myself. Why? Because whenever you tell them something, they will do something else. Okay, so slowly and gradually. So I'm breaking through the spine first, and then I'll start cutting the fish. Okay, when this is done, take the cloth, put it on the side, and now just cut through the pieces. This is done. It's a very delicate fish, so you'll see it breaking at times, but it's fine, don't worry. It's not going bad. And when you'll start cooking it, the texture will completely change, and the pieces you can see which are falling apart are going to be completely fine. So the fish is done. So keep this on the side. Now there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 pieces. Now what you need to do is, you need to give it an ice bath, but before that you need to wash your hands. Take a bowl, place it on the side, add some ice. When you add ice, if you can see some impurities over here, the red part is going to change color when the fish goes into really ice cold water, and it's going to get cured. The smell or the bad things in the meat like veins or frozen blood is sucked out with ice cold water. So I'll put the fish in this first. Do not overcrowd it. Try using a bigger one. Add some ice. Add some more fish. More ice. Fish and ice. This is done. Now you need to add water into it. So I have a jug of water. Add the water. And now try submerging it. Why? Because the ice will move and the fish will go inside. Okay, now the fish is done. You have to keep it on the side for at least 10 minutes. So I'll keep it on the side over here. Be a bit careful, you do not want to trip, and just rinse your hands once. The older cloth which we used goes into the dustbin, or you can wash it later on and the newer one comes out. Okay, so now what you need is, you need to start the recipe. And what are the ingredients of the recipe? First I need to clear it out. This board goes, you'll see a piece of tissue paper down. Why? You keep a tissue paper, a wet tissue paper. Why? Because then the board doesn't slip. Remember that. Keep this on the side. And now start cooking. So you need a green chopping board first. Keep it over here and start preparing the ingredients. First of all, what you need is, you need to prepare all the vegetables. So you need around 2 onions. I always keep one for a backup. Why? So that if the onion is bad in between, you can use another one. Okay, so the root of the onion is over here. I'll always keep the root on. Why? Because it holds the onion properly. They're just peeled and washed, and you have to finely chop them. So as I said, this recipe will be made in 2 parts, not 1 part. And the second part would be making the dry masala of the fish. It's a very interesting fish. I've had this recipe all my life because I am from the city of Karachi, but my grandmother has originated from the city of Thatta, and you can say that's my village or my hometown back in the day around when my grandmother was young. So she brought all these recipes with her, and all the famous books, all the Sufi saint books like Shahbaz Qalandar and all these people have the history of this recipe, but with the name of palla, because back in the day that was the wild fish. And the interesting part is, you know, a fish flows straight, but a palla always swims against the current, but not back, reverse. You can Google it and you can see that is the real story, and that's why it's an interesting fish, and it has a lot of bones, small, tiny, minute bones, and people say if you can eat a palla, you're the king of eating fish in Pakistan. Why? Because it's not an easy fish, it's a delicacy, you can say. And in the city of Hyderabad in Pakistan, you can see these people sitting on the river bank selling this fish and frying it for you and on the go. You can choose your fish, they'll take it out and you can have it. The other part is that there's this fish called trout. It's very famous across the world. Pakistan also has fresh river flowing trout. So if you go up north in the region of KPK, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, you will find trout as a fish which is found in the river water. If you come towards Sindh, you will find palla as the river fish and the fish which is actually enjoyed. Okay, now this is done. What you need to do is, first of all, till the time that is in ice water, what we'll do is we'll start making the dry masala. So increase the heat, add some oil. Okay, the ingredients of the recipe first. You need 2 onions, around 2 to 3 tomatoes. You need lemon juice, so I'll use a fresh lemon, squeeze it, and I'll use it for the fish, not right now. You need 1 capsicum, you need tamarind paste, you need around 8 to 9 cloves of garlic, some ginger, you need some turmeric, salt to taste, red chili flakes, cumin seeds, we call these curry leaves in Urdu. In our own language we call it curry patta. Then you need some carom seeds, which we call ajwain in our language. Then you need some garam masala. Everyone knows about garam masala. It's a mixture of 4 to 5 spices. And then you need some oil. So I'll use around 5 tablespoons of oil for the masala right now, which will be a dry masala because we're not using any water, we're just sauteing the ingredients in it. When that comes to heat, firstly you'll add the onions. The pan has come to heat because I had kept it on low heat. So as you can see, you can hear the crackling sound of the onion going in, and we start cooking now. So this tawa, also known as a big pan, is on heat also. Why? Because it takes some time, as it's like really hard steel they use. It's local steel. Now what you need to do is you need to add some salt to taste, and if you see some pieces of onion over here, just take them off and toss them over here because that's a clean pan. Okay, I need some salt, around a 1/4 teaspoon. Mix it up. Add a lid on it, reduce the heat to medium, and quickly cut some tomatoes, around 2. So I need them finely chopped. And we will do the same, we will slice them really quickly. And we will add these to the onions so that we can derive the flavor and the masala of tomatoes and onions together, and then we will coat this recipe, and how we shall do it I will let you know. Slowly and gradually just go through it, try going as fine as you can. Pakistani fruit and vegetables, we do not use any preservatives, we don't use any chemicals while we're producing them, so you'll see that they're pretty red, they're pretty juicy, and you'll see minute imperfections. Why? Because these are 100% organic in Pakistan, and that's how we grow our crop, our vegetables and our fruits. Okay, the onions are good to go. Now you add the masalas. Okay, I need to add the masalas and then we'll go for a short break. First, I'm going to add some red chili flakes. Then you should add some turmeric, some cumin, some carom seeds, garam masala. This is too much, only a bit. Then you should add some tomatoes. Okay, the tomatoes go in slowly and gradually. And now we just mix it up, increase the heat once, pan is getting hot. Give it a lid and let it cook for at least 5 minutes on low heat. Till the time this is cooking, we'll go for a short break, and when we're back, we're going to continue cooking. Don't go anywhere. Keep watching Indus Cuisine, and I'm your chef, Basim Akhund. Welcome back. You're watching Indus Cuisine, and I'm your chef, Basim Akhund. In the break, we just let it cook. As you can see, the oil has come out. Just mix it up a bit. Give it a lid. Reduce the heat to low now because you want the tomatoes to cook slowly. Okay, now what you need to do is you need to add a few ingredients to the masala. So first of all, we have a lot of ginger and garlic, so we'll split it into two. So I will take at least 5 cloves of garlic right now and around half a ginger. Okay, so we shall start shredding this. In the break, I cleaned out everything myself. Why? Because if you keep your station clean, it's pretty good. Okay, so you will shred the garlic. Be very careful. Leave the end part. Why? Because you do not want to cut your hand. Remember that when you cook carefully, that's the only time you can do it properly. If you don't cook carefully, you will have a mishap and it can be really, really painful. Remember that. Okay, slowly and gradually, I'm going through the garlic, and then I shall use half of the ginger. Why? Because I shall need some of this to coat the fish. This goes in the dustbin. You don't need these. Okay, now half a ginger. Okay, so grate it over here only. Keep it back. And now, as you can see, there's quite a lot of ginger and garlic. Okay, now this goes into the masala. Pick it up. Just pass your knife through it, mix it up once, and toss it in the pan. Okay, now I need a spoon just to start moving this. Mix in the garlic and ginger, just shred it, and start pressing this. Okay, the masala is almost ready. You do not have to make it very fine. I want a good texture, so keep mixing it. Give it a lid now for 2 minutes. Keep this on the side as you shall need it later on. So I'll keep it over here in this plate. Why? Because I don't want it to drip everywhere. And now what you need is you need a capsicum. I shall start cutting it on the sides. And I shall leave a bit for later on. I'll keep it over here. Start slicing it first, as thin as you can go. Whenever you're using capsicum, do not use the seeds. The seeds have a very strong and bitter flavor. You just use the skin of this ingredient. This is done. All of this goes into this, okay? So the masala is getting ready. Here goes the capsicum, and now we shall add the last ingredient, which is the tamarind water or tamarind paste, whatever you find in your local area market. Okay, now mix this. Give it a lid and and put it on pilot actually, so that it stays hot. Okay, now we come back to the fish. Okay, so you shall move this now and take the water out of the fish. It's completely ice cold. We need the board again, so I shall bring back the fish board. Always remember, you do not want cross-contamination when you're cooking. The board is over here. Bring the fish and take the pieces out. We need to fry this, but before frying it, we need to add some things to it. Okay, so here we go. You need some tissue paper right now. Why? Because you want to take out the excess water from it. You don't want it dripping with water when you add the things I will. Okay, so the tissue, just press it on the fish. and try drying it out. Please remember, drying the fish is very, very important. Why? Because if the fish is wet, whatever you're going to put on it, it won't stick and the water will ruin it up. Okay, so quickly I shall just clean it out. We need to cook quick. Why? Because we need to eat quick. Okay, this is done. Okay, now what you need to do is take around 2 lemons. I shall cut them and then I shall squeeze them in another bowl, and the bowl is behind me. The bowl's here. Okay, firstly, just cut it from between. Let me rinse my hands once. Dry them out. Keep it over here. And now what you need to do is add the lemon juice into this. Now I'm keeping it over here. Why? Because I'm not going to use these lemon pieces. So this is the lemon juice I need. Now these go into the dustbin. Rinse your hands once more. And now start cooking. Okay, so I'll keep this over here because I need it very regularly. First of all, you shall add some salt, around half a teaspoon. I'll tell you why. You'll be like, he's putting so much of salt. Then you need some red chili flakes, some garam masala, a little bit. You need some haldi powder, and then you'll take some ginger garlic and grate it. Okay, so I shall grate it directly into this. As you can see, it's falling in. Here we have the ginger. Now we need the garlic. You can keep the pieces back in. Around 2 pieces of garlic right now. And you don't need this anymore. This goes back. Okay, we need a spoon now. Now you need to mix all of this. And what I'll do is I'll start coating the fish with it. On the board only, that's why I was drying it out. This board is used to chop, and it's used to also coat the fish with all the spices. Okay, this is done. So now what I'll do is I shall just rub it. Move it around, just a light coat. Move it. This is just so that I get this nice light flavor. I don't want it to be very, very strong. This is done. Rinse your hands once more and add some oil to it. Okay, I need to add oil for shallow frying. So let's see, around 1 cup. I'm using this. Why? Because I want to spread the oil out properly so that the fish doesn't stick. Okay, this is done. I can see a lot of oil over here. Increase the heat to full. It's a very big pan, so I'll be using 2 places. Okay, so the part which has the masala on it goes down first. Pan is really hot, so I'm just adding more oil on the top, and the last piece goes in. So now it's frying. It should take around 4 minutes each side, remember that. Dry your hands out, and till the time this is cooking, what we can do is we need to see the texture of this. So you'll need a spatula first. It's done. And now you have to wait. till the time this is cooking, what you need to do is only 4 minutes each side. I'll just start cleaning the place out, and in the end I shall add some curry leaves to that, which I'll do right now actually, and then just let it sit in its flavor. Okay, this is done. Add it, put a lid on it, and let it cook for 4 minutes each side. Till the time I'll clean, and then we'll dish it out for you. So when the fish is fried, I've changed the sides. You can see it's falling apart. You need to put it on a chopping board which has a piece of tissue paper. Why? Because you want to take out the oil. You don't want the extra oil, and you can't put it on a grill like people do in the restaurants. You have to soak it like this. Slowly and gradually, try taking as much as oil off the fish you can. It's delicious. The fish is falling apart, and I shall have a feast after this. Okay, this is done. Take the small itsy bitsy pieces out. These pieces, why? Because the brown pieces has the real flavor in it. Okay, so this is done. Now what you need is, you need to start plating it. It's pretty hot. Just be quick. Slowly and gradually lift the fish. It's nice and brown in texture, in color. The tail of the fish has the most fat when it comes to the Pakistani fish. This is the thick part, the delicious one. It's pretty hot. And last but not the least, the last piece. This is done. Move this on the side now. Switch the water on, just clean your hands once at least. You want this really nice and saucy. Now the masala. Now I shall take our local thing, mix it up. Now what you can do is you can add the masala on the side, or you can add it on top. So I'll do two versions. I shall add the masala on the side first, like this. And then some on the fish. So these are the two ways this fish is served. And now, like all the nice chefs do, the presentation needs to be really, really good. So just clean it, wipe it off. You do not need to add a lot of things to this recipe. Today's recipe is done. I hope you liked today's episode. I'll see you in another episode with another delicious recipe from the heart of Pakistan. Keep watching Indus Cuisine, and bye-bye.